Have you ever wondered what our world looked like before us? Before cities, before forests, even before the first blade of grass. Let's travel back in time, not just thousands, but billions of years, to a planet you wouldn't even recognize. Welcome to the story of Earth's incredible transformation. Life before time. 4.5 billion years ago, our home was a vision of cosmic chaos, a molten ball of rock, relentlessly bombarded by asteroids and comets from the early solar system. The surface was a hellscape, a churning ocean of lava under a toxic, starless sky. There was no air to breathe, no water to drink, just fire and rock. It was a planet named Hadian, after the underworld, and for good reason. It was a world waiting for a miracle, and then the bombardment began to slow. As Earth started to cool, something magical happened. Water, vapor, carried here by those ancient comets and released from the planet's interior through volcanic vents, began to condense. It rained, not for a day or a week, but for millions of years. This relentless downpour filled the basins and craters, giving birth to our planet's first global ocean. It was still hot, acidic, and alien, but it was water, the very cradle of life. Beneath these primordial waves, Earth's inner fire was still raging. Underwater volcanoes, known as hydrothermal vents, spewed superheated mineral-rich water into the ocean. Think of them as chemical kitchens on the seafloor. In this dark, hyper-pressure environment, an incredible chemical dance began. Simple molecules started linking together, forming more complex structures. Over countless millennia, this slow, patient process led to the first sparks of existence. About 3.8 billion years ago, the first life emerged. Not animals, not plants, but single-celled organisms, so tiny they were invisible. These were the true pioneers, the ancestors of everything that has ever lived. For over 1 billion years, these simple microbes were the sole inhabitants of Earth, silently thriving in the ancient seas. They were simple, but they were about to change the world forever. One of these early life forms developed a revolutionary new trick: photosynthesis. Cyanobacteria, often called blue-green algae, learned to harness the power of the sun. They took in sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, and in return, they released a waste product. That waste product was oxygen. At first, this oxygen was absorbed by iron in the oceans, which literally rusted and settled to the seafloor, forming the massive iron ore deposits we mine today. But the cyanobacteria were relentless. They kept pumping out oxygen, and eventually, the oceans couldn't hold any more. So, oxygen began to escape into the atmosphere. For the existing life forms, this was a catastrophe. Oxygen was toxic, and it triggered the planet's first mass extinction event. But for the future of life, it was the single most important event in Earth's history. This great oxidation event, as it's called, fundamentally changed our planet's chemistry. It created the ozone layer, a protective shield against the sun's harsh ultraviolet radiation. For the first time, life could dare to venture closer to the surface, and eventually, onto land. The stage was being set for a more complex world, but Earth's journey was far from smooth. Our planet entered a period of extreme climate swings. At least twice, it plunged into a deep freeze, becoming what scientists call a snowball Earth. Ice sheets may have stretched from the poles all the way to the equator, encasing the entire globe in a layer of ice, perhaps a kilometer thick. Life clung on in warmer pockets, near volcanic vents, or in sunlit cracks in the ice. These intense challenges acted like a crucible, forcing life to adapt and innovate, driving evolution forward. After the final big thaw, around 540 million years ago, something spectacular happened. The atmosphere was rich in oxygen, the oceans were full of nutrients, and the world was ready. Life exploded in a frenzy of creativity known as the Cambrian explosion. In a geological blink of an eye, the first complex animals appeared. Creatures with shells, skeletons, eyes, and legs filled the seas. Weird and wonderful beings like the trilobites and the fearsome anomalocaries, the apex predator of its time, swam in the Cambrian oceans. The blueprints for almost all modern animal life were drawn during this incredible period. From these aquatic beginnings, life began its conquest of the land. First came the plant's simple mosses and liverworts clinging to the damp edges of continents. They anchored themselves in the rock, their roots breaking it down, creating the very first soil. Over millions of years, they evolved into towering forests of giant ferns and club mosses. During the Carboniferous period, these ancient forests were so vast and productive that when they died, they were buried and compressed, forming the coal seams that would one day power our own industrial revolution. With plants came the animals. Insects, spiders, and other arthropods were the first to follow, feasting on the new green world. Then came the vertebrates. Fish evolved limbs and crawled out of the water, becoming amphibians. These early land dwellers gave rise to the reptiles, who developed waterproof skin and shelled eggs, allowing them to break free from the water and conquer the dry interiors of the supercontinent Pangaea. Then came the Age of Giants, the Mesozoic era, the Age of Dinosaurs. For over 150 million years, these magnificent creatures dominated the planet. From the long-necked sauropods that towered over the treetops to the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex, they were the undisputed rulers of a warm, lush, and vibrant Earth. They were the pinnacle of evolution at the time, a testament to life's power and diversity. But as we've seen, Earth's story is one of a constant, often violent, change. 66 million years ago, a 6-mile-wide asteroid slammed into the planet near modern-day Mexico. The impact unleashed the energy of billions of atomic bombs, triggering global firestorms, mega tsunamis, and plunging the world into a dark, cold impact winter. The dinosaurs, along with 75% of all species on Earth, vanished. It was an apocalyptic end to an era. But every end is a new beginning. In the shadow of the dinosaurs, a small group of survivors had been biding their time. The mammals, with the great reptiles gone, new opportunities opened up. Mammals diversified rapidly, filling the empty ecological niches. They grew larger, smarter, and more adaptable. And among one group of these mammals, the primates, a new kind of intelligence began to stir. Our own story began, from the fiery, molten rock of the Hadean to the green and blue world we know today. Earth's journey has been one of unimaginable violence and breathtaking creation. Every rock, every ocean, and every breath of air tells a story of survival, transformation, and resilience. We are the inheritors of this 4.5 billion year legacy, living on a planet shaped by fire, ice, and the relentless march of life. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story as fascinating as we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the wonders of our world. See you next time.